and talking about this Cardinals and Charge game that happened yesterday, and how Kane played out. That's the word I was looking for. Shit, got tongue tied and shit. So yeah, just quick thoughts. Chargers had a better showing. They they came back from the game last week. I mean, like I said, they didn't really have a bad showing last week. They just lost the game in the last second, a game they could have won. You know what I'm saying? But it was good to see that they finally had they put it all together in the second half. You know what I'm saying? For the most part, they've done a lot of games where they showed up in the first half, and then in the second half when the other team made the adjustment, they didn't make the an adjustment to the adjustment, in a lot of the games. But yesterday it was a game where they actually you actually saw some different things from the coaching, and like I said, I'll be talking crazy about them for majority of the season. But yesterday I kind of saw some different things as far as offensive wise. They were calling different plays. And it was some plays that hopefully they think to use them in the future. That play where Keenan Allen scored, that was a good play, and you know it was it was just like, damn, that was something different from 'em. I ain't see them do that. They can really do some mismatches on some plays like that. Like going forward when they face the teams for the remainder of their schedule. Now, as a team, third down efficiency, both of their defense really wasn't stopping each other because they was kind of like just scoring at will. Cardinals was 7-13. That's outstanding, and then Chargers was they was solid 6-13. They both had 64 plays. In total plays, it was 366 for the Cardinals and 311 for the Chargers. They both had 11 drives. So, per play, Cardinals had 5.7 and Chargers 4.9. So it was a wash, what I'm saying, as far as like um as far as like offensive wise, for sure. It was definitely like um you couldn't really stop each other. Time of possession tell you right there, 30 minutes for the Cardinals and 29 for the Chargers or whatever. So they both was having some great real good drives, and they was picking each other's defenses apart. You know what I'm saying? The Cardinals, Murray, he came back off an injury. He was 18-29, 191, and he had 2 touchdowns, 1 interception. That was solid. You know what I'm saying? He only got sacked one time, which was surprising because he was getting pressured though, but he would just do a move to where he would go a little further back than the defender who be thinking, yeah, I'm right there, I'm about to grab him. And then because I saw Khalil Mack on the play where he almost had him, and it would have been a big loss. But then Murray was being slippery and got up out of there. Running game, Chargers is near the bottom. They rank 30th, and what I'm saying, they probably gonna hold that position down for majority of the season. Connor was out there, and Connor don't normally do this, but if you facing one of the worst defense, you gonna do this. He had 25 for 120, and he ain't had no touchdowns. Murray had a touchdown that with that you added with his 2 touchdown passes. He had 7 for 56 and a touchdown. You know, and Hopkins, he did his thing for 87 on 6 targets and caught a touchdown. Connor also had 3 catches on 20, and he caught a touchdown on 3 targets. Marquise Brown came back from injury. He had 6 for 46. So it was mainly them that was kind of contributing, like affecting the chains and whatnot. Um, Connor had a fumble loss. You know what I'm saying? So altogether they had two, and the defense, Isaiah Simmons, he turned kind of into like one of their tackling machine. He had 8. Buda Baker, he ain't really make no plays. You know, because like I said, the offenses both was at will doing what they want. J.J. Watt had a sack, and Cam Thomas he had a sack, but QB hits altogether they had 13. So they was, even though they wasn't getting the sacks, they was still hitting and Herbert. You know what I'm saying? As a team, they had four, and they had no interceptions. So, you really couldn't gauge much from the defense because, like I said, it was just at will, both sides and whatnot. So you flipped it over to the Chargers. Herbert had a solid game, 35 or 47, 274, three touchdowns, no interceptions. Running game. Um, as a team, they did 13 and 65, and Herbert was the leading rusher because he had that long 23-yarder in the second half. But actually, he had 5 for 20. But receiving the ball, he had 15 targets, 11 receptions, 60 yards. So I was busy talking shit, saying that, hey, damn, why they always seem like they just dumping it down and whatnot. But when you start looking at their games, a lot of times is a dump down, and they're using it as an extended run play. So so even though they're not directly handing the ball off, or like just how everybody now is doing the shotgun draw and then hand it to the running back. Them, they kind of do like how the Patriots used to do, where it would just be, or some people in the West Coast, where they'll just let the running back flank out just a little bit, maybe 2 or 3 yards. The quarterback hit him, and so it's like that's a version of how they want to incorporate in the running back in that team's version of the running game, because they can't just directly hand the ball off and give it to the back and he get yards because he getting stuffed. So they saying, all right, in order for the backs to get some work, they do it that way. You know what I'm saying? And when I started playing back most of the games, I'm seeing them. That's how they want to try to get, like, move the ball with the running backs, and have them at least be a factor in the game. But they give the running backs like the ball 28% of the time, via the pass. So it's like, so now I said, okay, that's what they were doing, because if the guy Joe Lombardi, he coming from New Orleans, right? And I can't remember if he was there with Alvin Kamara and shit, but it's just now that it's starting to make sense a little bit, and so I guess hopefully they do that to where they can catch the defense sleeping and then go over the top. So, and that's what happened yesterday. The defense was sleeping. Carter went. You know what I'm saying? He was on the outside wide open, and they threw him a touchdown pass. And so the Allen play, I was just real impressed with that, because that was a nice ass draw up, and it was like a play where he can either get you a first down when the game is tight to end the game, or he can get you a touchdown on the goal line. So they, like I said, they gotta do that play more. And then the other play to get the 2-point conversion to Everett, that was also a nice play call as well. So this was a game that they tried more designs. You get what I'm saying? And so it looked good though. It looked good. You know what I'm saying? I can't even hate on him. Yeah, Carter had 7 for 73 on 10 targets. Palmer had 7 targets. He had 5 for 56. Allen had 7 targets, had 5 for 49. But all his yards was definitely affecting the game. You feel me? Like either a critical first down or the touchdown. But his stats might not say a lot with that 49, but he had plays with them yards that kind of was, you know, the reason why the game, kind of tilted the Chargers' way though. Um, Let me see this. Fumble the ball. They had 2 fumble recoveries, and they had one interception by Derwin James, and you had to give him props. He came back with a solid ass game, like just from the jump. From the first half, you was just seeing him just all over the place, staying with whoever the hell he was supposed to check, and so you had to like say, damn, like you could tell like an all pro. You feel me? Like a dude, he could have let last week's game versus Kels and then just going against that passing attack, just like, put him in a funk. But he just was like, all right, fuck that. I got my ass handed to me. And so now I got to go back to work. And so you could say he went to the lab, looked at some things that he had to work on because he was all over the place. And so, you got to give him his props just for doing that comeback. You know what I'm saying? Tranquil, he's a guy that he kind of was getting dusted on the a couple of the passing game and shit. But the guy that's really getting torched and he's kind of creeping into possibly uh he was overdrafted was Murray Jr., man. It looked like he's way overdrafted. I don't know how they found a way to draft him in the first round. He not no first round backer. He don't do no plays. He ain't been to no Pro Bowls. He don't affect the game no kind of way. You know what I'm saying? That was a complete overdraft. And if he starts like he's supposed to be, if you in the middle, you supposed to be kind of leading the team in tackles, right? And he don't do that. Like you look at his stat line, he had 7 tackles and he had 1 pass deflect. But never each week you never see him having no sacks or nothing, no QB hits. I don't know whether they don't use him as a blitzing middle backer, but for some reason I just don't see him flying off the screen. I see him getting torched every week, but I don't see him flying off the screen as far as making plays, getting turnovers, like affecting the game like some of the even some of the up and coming middle backers is doing. I ain't even gonna say all pros, but just somebody that's showing that you was a first round dude, and he don't do that from week to week. So you know, I'm kind of like saying like maybe he was overdrafted and whatnot. You could have had probably got him in the third or fourth round. You know what I'm saying? But if you go back and you look at that, they was sicing him so hard, like, yeah, you gotta steal. And like, man, nah, man, you coming from the Big 12, man. Like, it's hard for you. I'm sorry to say this. It might be some stars that did come from them schools, but typically and he from Oklahoma. Like I'm not drafting nobody from Oklahoma on defense. Not no damn first round. That's a stretch because they didn't play no defense. You see them beating up on what Texas, Oklahoma State. And most of the time it's in the shootout. Like, nah, he didn't do enough plays for me in the season prior to him getting drafted for me saying to get had drafted him in the first. Like I said, how he's turned out to be, he was more better suited to getting drafted lower. You know what I'm saying? Like fourth, fifth rounder and stuff like that. But that's just my thoughts on it. They only had 1 sack and that was Mike Davis. You know what I'm saying? But like I said, Khalil Mack had a few ones that he couldn't grab him because Murray just kept moving. But I seen him doing his you know QB hurries and shit like that. They was good for that. They was doing different sort of stunts. So it was like even though the defense is not going to show because the score and just like I said, the plays and how they just was both moving the ball. But they did do some situational plays the way you saying, okay, they trying something different. And so with that do come from coaching. You know what I'm saying? They coach something different that they said, let's try this and whatever. So I can give them that. It ain't worked this week, but in the future it might start working. But like I said, I was very impressed with Derwin James. You know what I'm saying, how he just came back, just to say like, yeah, that was just a hiccup game. And so yeah, I was impressed with that. So yeah, overall as a team, you're gonna just say it was a win. But they still just beating up on teams that's under 500. So but it's a win, right? And so you probably have rated at the end of the day, it's probably like just a C. I ain't gonna say C plus, because they didn't sack like crazy, but they offense look, what I'm saying, look like they were doing something different. You get what I'm saying? Like just different sort of plays. So I'm gonna go with a strong C. You feel me? Now they gonna have the Raiders. Raiders been playing strong these past few games, and they gonna play. You know how it is when they playing not to get swept. So that's gonna be a tough game, and so they know they need them AFC games to even be considered the with tiebreakers and all that bullshit. So, but right now they still in the hunt. But yeah, that's just my thoughts on it. All right, thanks for listening.